Okay, hey, this is like day 2 of the new series. I'm excited to create my own series on YouTube. So I forgot what I named it already. I had to write it down. Let me, it's on a soul activation. Okay, soul activation. Finding your purpose. Purpose. Let me tell you what it is. Finding your purpose through soul activation. A soul activation. And it doesn't have to be, it can be anything. I think Eckhart Tolle was saying, he just got so depressed that it activated him. All sorts of things. It's a grace in your life that shows up, that activates you to go on this ego death, soul awakening. Oh, see, look. My angels. There and there and there. 2 of those are Charlie's. Anyway, so a couple tips, okay? Like, I wish people had told me. And I'll show you what I'm wearing. Like, this beautiful thing that's like, oh, you can't tell. It looks horrible. Not horrible. Not as well in the picture, but it's super cute. It's pants, but I'm at my office. So one thing someone told me at the beginning of all of this stuff that's going on, so it was a year ago, and 2 people told it to me. 3, actually 3. And so when you hear something 3 times, often that's, for me, that's verification, you have to use discernment. So one thing is learning how to learning how to use your own discernment in things, learning how to develop your ability to discern. And so it's kind of like, I wouldn't learn how to make these videos and how to learn whatever I'm learning from making these videos unless I made them. And so you don't learn how to discern unless you put yourself out there and try new things and get in new situations. But one thing that I was told was to dress impeccably. And this other woman, so that was a man that said that. And it came to me through a book. And another woman was like, you're going to be entering into a season, and it's important that you take care of yourself and dress nice every day and pamper yourself and be kind to yourself, and don't be, going out in rollers and stuff like that, well, I had my hair fixed yesterday, but it was all rainy, so it gets all, but anyway, put your makeup on. I hear, put your makeup on. Do they like you? Do you like you? You don't have to try so hard. You don't have to give it all away. Why don't you just get up, get up, get up? You don't have to change a single thing. You don't have to try. That was Colby Calais. Like, I trust the songs. For me, I hear songs that are meant to help you and help me understand the truth of whatever I'm speaking. And so songs come to me with my clients. I don't bust out in songs with my clients. Usually I just tell them the song. Sometimes I might, if it'll change, break through the barrier that we're going through. Sometimes when you go into song, you get into an art form like poetry, and it takes you out of the seriousness that you were in and gets you more in a playful place. And so that goes beyond your defenses. So your defenses are like, oh, well, I can't fight against that, And so it's nice because it's a way to have fun with your life and to get through things in a more playful way. So one thing that was brought to me in a lot of different ways, actually. Now I know another person that said it. Latoya had just said it in a different video the other day that I watched. you know, when I was laughing at the part that's like, you don't have to look bad when you're being buried alive in this ego death thing. You know, you're staying alive. It's your egotism that's dying, you know. And so the best you can, and this is always just, I'm sharing the insight that's come to me, that's really helped me. There's these small things that seemed like they would be nothing, but at the beginning of this, and you guys can watch, this is what's so cool, is you can see the transformation that's been happening to me in the past year, if you'd like to, and already the knowledge that I had back then, but how I carry myself, and I dress. I did my best to dress well, and just like not in just grubby sweatpants, you know what I mean? Even though, I mean, sometimes I'm out hiking, but even then I tried to like wear nice hiking gear, you know, and it doesn't have to be expensive. I go to like Target or something. Like, I mean, I don't want to promote anybody, because I don't know what's behind all these companies. So I'm not, if I name something, it's just because I'm saying, like, you don't have to spend a lot of money, but you know, you want to be conscious. Sometimes I did go to Anthropology or something, like you want to be conscious of, you don't have to, but I think it's important to be conscious of where they're getting their stuff from, you know. And if not, you can, this is going to sound weird for some of you guys, but you can, it's just like you pray over your food. Thank you so much for this animal. Thank you for these plants, this food that I get to ingest in my body. I appreciate it. I appreciate the hands that grew it and prepared it. And I appreciate how it got to this table and the person serving me right now. I was so appreciative of the waitress last night because it was my kid's birthday. And I just was so appreciative, you know. And anyway, oh, you can do that about your clothes. Like, thank you for the hands that prepared this, you know. I pray like freedom for them in their life. Sometimes I do that. And love and wisdom, or whatever. You can pray whatever. And you're praying it, you're wishing that good thing to come to other people wherever they are. It's like when Christ, and always, if you are of the Christian faith or whatever faith you are, you know, but for me, I grew up a certain way, but I don't try to push that on anybody ever, because I believe that everyone's meant to unfold their own path, and that we all naturally want to search for the truth. And as you keep doing that, then you'll find it more and more. And I believe that Christ was teaching us all about mystical understandings as well, and how to get to a higher consciousness, among all the other things that he was conveying to us. But one thing that, you know, when I'm saying stuff like this, you can check it, you know, check it yourself, whether you see an example of it. So like, oh, I just got the image when I was saying that to you of Christ taking the bread and the fish and holding it up to heaven and saying thank you, and then he broke it and multiplied it. And so it's like, that's how we give our gifts to the rest of the world. It's like, you take this stuff that you have, this substance of yourself. And I've looked at this a lot mystically, is when there's a communion service, different faith practices believe that is really the body of Christ in some way. Whether you believe that or not, or what it is, or what the extent is, I'm not getting into theology, but I will say the mystic understanding of, you take this thing that was wheat, that was picked up in the field and crushed down and made into bread, and you take the wine, you know, which were berries that were picked and crushed down as well, and made into this, you know, over time. And so the wheat was baked in an oven, the wine was fermented over time, you know. And so it's like, you take these two things. This is like our life, is as our egotism gets crushed out of us, or we learn how to not let that part reign in our lives, not like this under part be the over part, but it's like, and the example I've given in other videos is, it's like if you are connected to the divine and you have a soul purpose and you have this beautiful thing unfolding in you, and it's like if you were playing that in a song form on the piano, and then the piano starts saying, I am the magical instrument, I am where all this is coming from, because the music is coming out of the piano, okay? And so we have our body and we have our brain and we have our personality self. And so all of this beautiful God consciousness, you know, the Holy Spirit or whatever, and I'm not saying it's all the same, I'm just saying this is coming through you with love, excuse me, to other people. And then you start mistaking and thinking it's your personality self, or it's the piano, or it's your mind, you know, or it's the knowledge that I have in my books, you know, or whatever. And it's like, no, it's not. And if you let the piano run your life, then things are going to be disordered, because the piano got the music from the soul that's connected to the divine that's playing it. And so that's just the example that's been coming to me. But back to the bread and the wine, okay? So it's like you take these natural substances and you offer them up to the divine and just say, make with this what you want, you know? It's like, even if you go back, this is where you go back. And this is so cool. I wasn't planning this. This is all just coming to me right now. Because as you choose, I am committed to be of service, to be of love for you guys, then you open up the capacity for this to start coming through you. So, but if I didn't, then this wouldn't. And I can tell you a million reasons why I wouldn't be talking to you right now on this video, because I've had a million reasons before. And a lot of them were my own limiting beliefs about my own worth and about, anyway, lots of different things. But so go back to the bread and the wine, and it's like, so even if you go back to like, oh, well, we took the wheat and we crushed it and we turned it into bread, to flour and added water and whatever, and turned it into bread. And then we picked the grapes and we, you know, but go back before that. Oh, there's a song that was coming to me a couple days ago, and I wondered, I had a feeling it would come up for a video for some reason, and now it just did. So I'll try to sing that song in a second. I'll do my best. And so even if you go back, okay, I'll just sing the song first. It was one I learned at camp. It's a really short song, but it was like, we would say it before meals sometimes when I was like 8 years old. And it was like, hopefully I'll remember. In back of the bread is the mill. In back of the mill is the wheat. I don't know how it goes. In back of the wheat is the wind and the rain and the Father's will. Anyway. And so what I'm saying is, like, we can even do this with our own products, with bread and with, you know, I have a purse right here and, you know, whatever, with the things that we have. We can think, these are mine, you know, I made the money to buy these things. And it's like, no, go back before that, you know, because people are like, oh, there is no such thing as the divine. And it's like, look at all of creation. Like, this stuff happened by accident, you know, like, you know, I have I think they said it was like veins that could, if you unravel them, they would go around the world twice, you know, I don't know. And all my DNA has all this encoding and it just accidentally, but anyway, I don't have to go into all that. And so, but go in with the wheat, even if you take the wheat, it's like the wheat didn't grow without the ground, and the ground was there. And the ground also took the sun. So the sun is shining and the sunlight's going into the ground, into the seeds, and the water is bringing that up. So it's like all these elements that were provided by the universe or whatever were already there to make the product that you had, that you made, that you think you made all of it. Just like our mind can trick us and say, I made this. Our personality can say, I am this big thing, or I am this horrible thing. It will play both sides. So just watch it, because it'll play both sides. And this is in The Power of Now. He talks about that really, really well, really well. But what also, a warning, like I'm just giving you tips right now for how to get through this dark night of the soul period, or this soul awakening, this higher level of, my friend calls it upgrading. You're being upgraded right now. Like, you know, new light codes are coming in. And so however your concept of understanding it, don't get freaked out if you haven't heard those things. And it doesn't have to be that, it's just people explaining the same thing in different ways. But, you know, always use your own intuition, your own discernment. Like, I'm not telling you how to think, but I'm giving you the tips that have helped me so much. Okay, so one is be impeccable. And that's in one of the 4 agreements too. But before I read the 4 agreements, because I had the book for the longest time and I didn't read it, someone had told me dress impeccably. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. I have to look up the word, you know, but it didn't matter. It was great that it was a high order of a word, because it taught me to just keep taking high respect for how I am in my house, even if I'm just in my house or when I leave my house. And so it's not just this fake thing. It's just like, yeah, put lotion on my legs. You know, I have all these old lotions that I had saved from all these different places. And it's like years of saving lotion. Like, just start using that stuff, you know, like it's stuff that I already had for free. And as you commit to this kind of excellence in your life, things will show up that, in a way that you never knew that they could show up. You know, like I give my clothes away to other people, my old clothes, because I don't wear that size anymore. I wear a smaller size. And then other clothes show up for me in other ways, or other, but you have to be not have to, but I invite you to be creative as well. Think outside of the box. I tell this story about how I only bought my house. I bought my house because I was on a Zoom video with someone, and they were talking about in a meeting, and it was like they were talking about not limiting your beliefs about what can happen. And then I have this woman that's been that helps clean my house for the last years and years and years. I've known her for forever, and I really appreciate what she does, and she appreciates my contributing to her, you know, because it helps her livelihood, you know. And so she was like, Cheryl, you have to get a house. You have to, you know, that's how you. And so it was like, it's so weird, because it's like, if it weren't for my cleaning lady or my lady that helps clean my house, I call her that, you know, I love her. She's like mi abuela, you know, like my grandmother, or a mantra, you know, it's like, I love her. And she loves me. I mean, we say I love you all the time to each other. Like, we just have this deep respect for one another. And anyway, if it hadn't been for her, like the most unlikely source, according to the world's eyes, not to my eyes, this is not an unlikely source at all. But it's like, I might not have a house right now. I might not have a house that I own in California, which is like impossible. I could get like 4 houses in Texas for what I had to, you know, gather together with my resources. So anyway, I won't go into that more, but so be impeccable. I'm gonna write that down too. So we have that. 2 is like accept higher directions, and knowing within yourself from unlikely places. That just came up. Unlikely places, you know. And you can have a knowing. You can have a knowing about this, where check your intuition if that resonates with you. Check your intuition if any of what I'm saying resonates with you. And so, and also what came out just now when we were talking is give thanks always. This raises you to a higher consciousness anyway. Appreciation, deep appreciation for the life, you know. I loved it when I saw that. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Okay, let me write down. Okay, gosh, it took me so long to get to this place that I'm at right now, and so many tears. And so I already said that last time. I haven't been writing these down. Maybe we'll start making a list. Is allow the tears to come. It's an important part of the journey. Don't be afraid of feeling your feelings. Otherwise, you stay numb. You know, or that's what I experienced. So give thanks and appreciate you know, give thanks in that offer. I'll put offer up what's been given to you. To be transformed by the divine, transformed and multiplied. This is so fun because we can do whatever we want. It's like if someone says, okay, you get 3 wishes. What wishes do you want? Like, we can create that right here. We can add this to our vision board sort of thing. We're creating one right now. Add it to our wishes. Add it to our prayers. It's like, ask and you shall receive. We have not because we ask not. And I know why I wasn't asking, because I didn't think I deserved. And so I wasn't asking for things because I thought I had to keep earning it in some way. You don't have to try so hard, you know. I thought, and I didn't realize I was doing it. So again, there's this perspective that sometimes you're in a box and the label's on the outside, and other people can see it, and you can't see the box that you're living in and you're trapped in. And so it doesn't even seem like you are trapped in it, but it's so important to get out of these boxes. And I remember my friend Elliot said, Cheryl, you know, Elliot Smith, he's a singer, but anyway, he just was a dear soul friend of mine that really woke up my consciousness to a whole nother level and really helped me to not judge people where they are, and because he didn't judge me where I was, and I didn't judge him, and it was just the strangest friendship, but it was beautiful. But he said, always know, you know, when you get out of the small box, because I'm like, why are those people in such small boxes? And it's like, when you get out of a small box, you're climbing into a bigger box and in a bigger box. And so it's like, we want all these barriers to be removed, but it's like, so it's great. But that's another thing. Let me write that on the side, is like, let go of judgment. Do not judge. Jesus said this, and he's always teaching about higher consciousness, lest you be judged. You'll be judged by the same measure. Guess why? Because when you're in judgment, you close off to this expansive, your soul self, your isness, and you're putting a lot of your own pain actually on another person, and your own feelings of shame and unworthiness when you're judging them. So it doesn't have anything to do with what they're doing. I saw that the other day. I was judging this person, and it was really, and I talked about it in one of my other videos, so you can watch that. I don't remember what the name of that one is, but it was really, I was judging this person. It was a female, because she was bringing up an old, deep fear from my childhood. She was challenging that, and I was scared for other people. And I thought it was for other people, and it is for other people. For sure, I want to protect the people that I'm in charge of protecting, but it was a deep fear in me. And so as soon as I was like, okay, I know not to judge. I really want to judge this person. I know not to judge. As soon as I let go of judgment, then I could see what my fear was, and then I could start bringing healing to that fear, okay? So use your judgment, be wise. You can discern and go, I don't want that for myself and my own life, and I want to protect people that are in my protection, like I'm talking about children and stuff. from that. But I don't ever want to judge anyone. They're unfolding their own path. They've got their own adventure to unfold here, and their own misery to like sit within. As long as they want to sit within it, they can stay until they learn. I say that to myself. It's like, oh, I guess I needed another year rolling around in the mud for me to learn this lesson. And it's not being mean or demeaning myself. It's just saying that's what it took until I said, that's enough, you know? And so I learned that in Montreal. He's like, because I had a client and she's like, I don't know how to let go. He's like, hold on to my finger like this, you know? It's like, hold on, you know? And it's like, and then he started walking down the hall and it's like, because she could let go at any time, you know, because anyway, he was my mentor and supervisor at the time. And so once a month or so, he would meet with my clients and see how it's going, because I was in training a long, long time ago when I lived in Montreal. And so finally, it's like, he's about to get on the elevator. She just let go. And he's like, see, you do know how to let go, you know? And it was like, and I say this to my clients now, I'm like, and this is not in the place of therapy. This is just me talking to you as a person who has learned these things in my own life. And I'm conveying them to you so that you get these tips. If you need professional therapy, then go seek that out for sure. Or if I'm taking clients and you would like to be, then that might be an option. I plan on making a choice about that soon, whether I want to open back up to clients or not. Sometimes yes, sometimes it's what I'm called to. If I'm called to keep making more classes and more books so this can go to lots of people, or just have some individual sessions. Anyway, I don't feel called to it right now, except for the clients that I have. But I don't want to close the door, so we'll see. But I say to my clients now, it's like, okay, hold on. And it's like, okay, if I start getting in my car and backing up, when, you know, that's when they're going to let go, because they don't want to be dragged on the street. And so we all have a threshold where we let go. But unfortunately, and fortunately, is our threshold is where our parents taught us by our experience in childhood what our worth is. And so we can start informing ourselves that that is not our worth. Our worth is way higher than what they taught us. And I'll wrap this up soon, but the one other thing that I wrote down that it's so awesome is this has just been a new realization, and it's come through friends, you know, probably from skating with dear people that I love, is no love is ever wasted. And check and see if this is true. It's like, see, I got a verse in my head, Christ saying, you know, and I don't know if Christ said this or it's just in the, you know, in the scriptures, is that let no debt remain outstanding except the debt to keep loving. Well, Jesus said, love as I have loved. And so he encourages us to love as he has loved. And so what does that look like? Is no love is ever wasted. Is he put love out even though he got crucified? You know, in the end, he came back and resurrected, and you don't have to believe that or whatever, but it's like hate and rejection and even people killing him. He laid down his own life, but letting them murder him, you know, didn't take away from the love he had to give, and the love that he did keep giving. And so like it used to be for a while, I was like so mad at myself for opening up my heart and loving freely, you know. And oh yes, there was one other thing that reminds me. Oh, this is 5. Test for character. So there is one more test. Okay. This is one of the main things. Okay, let me just write it down so I don't forget it, but let me keep talking about. So I I mean, it was foolish in a way because I opened my heart way too early without knowing someone's character, and because I just took their character based on someone else telling me, oh, this person has a really, really high caliber of character, and I trusted that person, and they just didn't know, they didn't know, and so I trusted that person, and I didn't wait to take time to really actually get to know someone's character. And it's fine now because now I've learned to do that. You don't have to let someone weigh into the deep parts of your heart and give them all of this love, and if they haven't shown themselves to be worthy, which goes to the next part. But no love is ever wasted. And so I can remember now the feeling that I had of just loving fully and just pouring my whole love out in all sorts of different situations in my life, and just like feeling completely spontaneous and free to just be as loving as I possibly could imagine, and it's such a good feeling. It's a great feeling, and we're meant to be loving. But until we know more about our own worth, you don't give that away. That's like, yes, I can be loving to you guys. Yes, I can be loving to my clients. But in personal relationships, people get to earn their place in your life. And no one really taught me that before, because this is why, is because, when you grow up in it's coming to me right now. When you grow up in your childhood, these are just the parents you're with, and you're like, love these people, like with all their faults and all of their destructive ways that they are. I mean, constructive, yes, loving, conscious ways, and then unconscious, really dark, painful, destructive ways that they are, because they haven't done their own inner work and they don't know how to be conscious and loving. And so just because you were like forced to have that in childhood doesn't mean that you can't do the inner work now and bring healing inside yourself. I didn't know that this healing hadn't taken place until it was revealed by these different circumstances. I'm hearing like, test and see that the Lord is good, I feel like that in your spiritual walk too, is like you as you realize how much you're not trusting the divine and you're trying to do everything yourself, as you learn how to surrender more and trust a little bit more to divine, which seems out of our minds, it's like it's so backwards. Like, oh, that's why. I was just reading in one of Latoya's, in her in this class that I'm taking with her, she says up is down, and that's all she said, like at the end of this sentence, and it was like, what does that mean? But now I'm seeing up is down, down is up, is like, okay, we learn to trust in our parents, and our parents are broken people, so we're learning to look outside of ourselves. And that's how our society teaches us to get our worth, from outside of ourselves, or numbing ourselves from, by using outside sources, or anyway. And so, but when you learn that, no, it's by coming back in here, by treating yourself with love, by treating yourself with dignity, by learning who your isness is, what living according to your soul self is, it's not the piano, it's you, our consciousness. George MacDonald, someone who C.S. Lewis said every book of his was influenced by George MacDonald. I love George MacDonald. He says, don't teach your kids they have a soul. Teach them they are a soul and they have a body. And that's a very important distinction. And so I can't tell you everything in one. I mean, like, I could tell you everything in one video. That would be a very long video. But let me keep this brief, as brief as now. Let's see. So no love is ever wasted. Don't feel ashamed that you loved deeply and you just jumped right in, if you have in the past. And of course, I've seen, because I've been in a lot of groups this past year, a lot of women say, like, I regret now so much giving myself over and over again physically to so many men. And I don't want to reveal, like, I'm not revealing what group I was in, or any of those people, because all of that is private, but this is just in general, and I've seen it in a lot of different cases. And because women bond differently, and so we think that we're operating from this certain place, and so that we're coming from this place of love and wanting to connect, and men have there's like a more physical element to it, and they will sometimes think in their mind that we're thinking like they're thinking. And a lot of women nowadays have been, unfortunately, because they numb out this other part of themselves. And I'm not judging anybody anywhere for anything, okay? So, like, take out all judgment, because that just stops learning how to be loving to yourself as you are, where you are. But this is another thing I've been learning, is like, women will think that the men are thinking like they're thinking. And so there's a miscommunication, and there's a lot of destructiveness and pain and hurt that can happen because of this misunderstanding, and just assuming that men think like we do and men think that we think like they do. And it's like, no. And so it's like, I've talked to a lot of men actually that have deep regret. I can think of like 4 men right now. 3 men at the top of my head, but I know there have been more. Oh, and I know a really, really conscious man that doesn't do this. And I know a couple of those, and it's so refreshing and so loving. And it gives, this is like test and see that trusting the divine is good, like, but not just blind trusting, but giving a little more trust, because examples have come in my life of people who have done the inner work and are really conscious in this area. But I have met a bunch of men that feel really regretful, and I know one man that's passed that told me how regretful he was of the women that he used like an object in order to, feel better about himself, or feel like he was more of a man, because he didn't know how much of a man he already was, And so I don't want to put down people being in their senses, and you being in your body and feeling your own body and feeling good to be in your body, and knowing that we have sexuality and stuff like that. I'm not getting into that deeper right now. These are just seeds for you to contemplate and think about, but not at all to judge yourself, but and not to be over moralistic where you're just trying to control everything, but know that some of these rules are here to protect you when you don't know that you're not protecting yourself. I'll just say that much. Okay, but no love is ever wasted. Like, I don't have to feel ashamed anymore that I loved with my whole heart, and I threw my whole heart into something like that. That loving is admirable. And it's just, I didn't know that it's like, if I loved a shark well or a piranha well, and they started eating half my body, and I lose half my body to learn that lesson, because piranhas, or something, I still lost in that. But what you lose oftentimes as you turn to the good, turn to the high noble path and loving path, and not over spiritualize yourself, not do things so that you feel good, like, oh, now I have merit because I do this, and this, not get your merit from these actions, but do them because they're wise and they're kind and they're thoughtful. But whatever you lose, if when you turn to this high path, it sometimes comes back. Like, I would find my own legs reappearing somehow, but you can't count on that because you don't know what the cost is going to be. But I don't want to make it worse than it is. It's just like, still go to the good. But this is the last thing, is when you go to the good, this is what, I guess Tony Gaskins, but then Latoya Okeia, Okeia, was re-emphasizing for me and helping me see on another level that you'll be tested. Okay, so when you're called to excellence and you commit yourself to excellence and to a higher path and to leaving this stuff behind, and the one thing I was going to tell you that I regret the most is not leaving it sooner, not saying no to the scraps that I was holding on to, thinking, and it's a repetition of childhood. It's because you think if all I get is scraps, that all I'm ever going to get is scraps. And so all I have to do is keep holding out for the scraps. And I know that the scraps I'm hanging out for, it's like those people, those situations are also hanging out for scraps. So I don't have to feel bad like I'm less than these people. And it's not about judging them at all, but it's about understanding, oh, they're operating the same way, or like this whole scrap mentality. It just really helps to define it in a way to go, that's not something I want to sign up for, and I wish I would have let go of that sooner. But know that, okay, so just like what came to my mind when I was parking here today is like in the old initiation schools, before someone could be given higher knowledge about higher things, really transformative, like alchemic things, turning lead into gold. This is like what I wore the shirt last night, be wine, because I was just gonna, I slept in it. It was my, anyway, be wine. It says be wine. It's like be transformed from this, from the grape into wine, from this substance of myself that I offer up to God and go, oh yeah, okay, do your magic, God, the real magic of a spiritual transformation. Metanoia is a word for repentance, but it's like the metamorphosis of your nous. Like, give me a new mind, a new spirit, a new excellence. When you are committed to this, I thank God that Latoya was saying, you're gonna be tested. You're gonna be tested because they didn't just give that information to anyone that came to the school and goes, hey, what is that movie? There's a movie with Benedict Cumberbatch, and he's like a superhero, the one with the cape, the not a superhero cape, but Doctor Strange. He goes and he's just brought to the end of his edge, like he became, like he couldn't use his hands anymore, and he had all his worth as his egotism hand surgeon, and so he went to usually you go to Tibet or something, but you go to get higher knowledge, and they're like, oh, we don't know what that place is, and he kept thinking that it was a man that was going to be a teacher, and it was a woman, and so it's like receiving help from these unknown, unlikely sources, like me, and my pajama shirt last night, I mean, I wear it out as a normal shirt, but when you commit to this, then there are just the way I found, and I don't want to make this harder for you or less. It's just knowing that I have been tested, and then you get brought down again and you feel like it's all for nothing and everything goes dark. And it's like in the Lord of the Rings, when the what's it called? The 9 wraiths, the ring wraiths can't come on the Nazgul or whatever, and everything goes dark and everyone feels hopeless, and it just gets all dark and black and just feels hopeless. But then things turn around. Just get through that. It's like you're just this far away from your next breakthrough. And so just know that you're being tested, and it teaches you. It's been teaching me to test other people's character. Don't just let them in my life. They don't get that access. They don't get that privilege. It is a privilege. And I'm worth that screening process for sure. But you didn't get to screen your parents. So we learn not to screen people and just take people at what they're presenting, how they're presenting themselves, because they believe themselves to be this too. And then they show their character, and you're like, wait, and you don't have to be blindsided, because you have a much slower process because you've gone through it yourself. I have been tested over and over again. Are you going to stay committed to this path or let it go? And I'm here still after more than a year, and I've been doing this for many, 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 like decades, actually, more than 2 decades. So I wish you love. That's all for now, and I'll talk to you soon.